Next in our afternoon, we have government relations with Mr. Paul Williams. Mr. Williams is going to going to share with us about government relations. And he's going to tell us more about what he does. And we want to welcome Mr. Williams to the microphone. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me out today. I'm probably going to be the least relevant person that you've heard from all day in terms of being dealing with the non-for-profit sector and how government relations and how they may impact upon you. Give you a little bit of background. It's a little bit in there. I'm a lobbyist. That's what I do in my law practice. I deal with government. I represent a lot of various interests down in Springfield in particular, and I think that when Phil thought about this, he must have, had I don't know what, he must have woke up in the middle of the night and said, I asked Paul to come down here. He doesn't know that. And that's because we go way back. I'll give you a little bit of history. But with governmental relations, I've been calling myself the Forrest Gump of governmental relations. I was Harold Washington's legislative assistant when he was a state rep. And then later on, I worked with first Mayor Daley and second Mayor Daley. Barack Obama asked me to be his chief of staff when he first went to the U.S. Senate. And after a week of deliberation, I called up Barack and said, Barack, that only makes sense if you're going to be president in the next couple of years. So obviously I knew what I was doing, but didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know what I was saying. But the point is that being around like that, I know how to deal in and around government. And I'm trying to figure out, because I've been listening to what the nature of the discussion is today, and I'm trying to figure out ways that I can help, ways that I might be useful for what you're doing. And a lot of times when you're dealing with government relations, a lot of larger non-for-profit organizations, Chicago area project, all the other people, they actually have lobbyists that go down to Springfield and try to get money for the various programs and whatnot. But, part of that, though, is just deal with lobbying and stuff. But let me tell you, my first inroad for non-for-profit deals with Phil Jackson. Not his brother, but we go back far enough. I got me and him, when I got my license, he actually helped me. We got on to the 99th Street thing in the middle of the night, and he let me practice before the day we went out and took the test. Don't ask us how we got on the practice. Me and Phil go way back. And my first inroad, I was always, and I'm a for-profit type guy. My first inroad into nonprofits, when me and Phil and all of us were young, we had the groups that we called Swing Enterprise and everything else, and we were for-profit. That's how committed this young man is, or this man is. And we were making money. We were kids, 17, 18. We gave these first profit, and we put up $400. We made $1,600 the first night. And we started doing to a point where we had 3 and 4 parties going at one night. We had parties we weren't even old enough to go to. We were making money and stuff like that. But then we knew we were going down the right there. But one day, all of us profit seekers are sitting outside thinking about it, and we hear from the microphone, Philip Jackson stands up and says, and tonight's proceeds are going to be donated to the Black Panther Breakfast Program. And all of us are like, what? So this is my first excursion into nonprofit, because that day, we turned into a nonprofit. Phil donated all of our profit without telling anybody. And since all the Black Panther brothers was there standing waiting to collect the money, it was a done deal. It was done. It wasn't a matter of a board decision. It was done. But I've had the pleasure of knowing Phil all this. So when Phil calls up and says, Paul, I want you to do something, I do it. And one of it because I probably am one of, I've been involved with government relations. I'm a former state representative, been involved with government relations just about my entire adult life. Been in Springfield since 1975, and I know how a bill becomes law, but I also know how to impact on things, but I also know about lobbying, so that's just what I do. Let's discuss what lobbying is. Lobbying can involve dealing with the government, can involve trying to influence a piece of legislation, can involve trying to, change the mindset and what you want to do, but, lobbying actually is less, technical than that. That's when technically what we do with the government when I just got back from Springfield. And I represent all types of things. I represent the good, the bad, the ugly, all that other good stuff. And so, for me, a lot of it isn't just all about money. It's about changing laws, about changing things. But lobbying is anybody, and I understand you have a right to lobby your government. When anybody's doing anything that's going to have an impact on your life, you have a right to speak out about it. You have a right to say about what you want to do. But lobbying can involve government, but it can involve anything you want to do. Another way, most people consider nowadays the modern form of lobbying, when you hear people talk about, I'm an advocate. Advocacy. It's a big thing. I'm a so-and-so advocate. Now me, like I said, I'm the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm a for-profit guy, but I know a lot about non-for-profit because I'm on everybody's board. And I'm trying to get off this year. Trying to get off of everybody's board, but I'm on everybody's board. But at the same time, it's a matter of, lobbying is a matter of trying to express and move somebody, influence somebody who's in a position to make a decision over what it is you're trying to do, whether to get resources, whether it's dealing with certain areas of law, things you can do, because there are a lot of things besides just money that you lobby on. The first thing you got to do in lobbying is figure out who it is you're trying to influence, why, and for what. You got to look at what it is you want to do. If you want to get this group to give you money, or get this group to change its position on this particular issue, or get this group to do something else, first you got to look at the group. How does that group make decisions? Who's involved with those decisions? Who do I know that's involved with those decisions? What can I do? I mean, as the people say, oh, well, lobbying ain't nothing but drinking, partying, and doing all of that stuff. Believe me, it's a lot more than that. People ain't giving me the type of money they getting, expecting me to just go get drunk. They expect me to figure out this stuff, and I said, my job, I tell people, no, it's my job to know these guys. I know what bar they drink at. I know what place they like to eat. I know what they do, because that's part of understanding who it is I'm trying to influence. I have to determine what's going to influence them, who's going to influence them, who do I know that I can get to influence them, what can I do? Like I said, I represent real estate people at one time, and I was with the realtors, and I remember people say, well, what do you do? I said, well, we set up a whole system of knowing every realtor out there. I set up across the state of what we call key contacts. My job was, one, influence the realtors to get involved with the politicians, and I told them, and then if possible, become their treasurer. I said, why? Because the treasurer stands between them and the penitentiary. So when the treasurer calls, he's going to pick up the phone because he don't want to go to the penitentiary. So I want to be the guy that places the treasurer. And so now the treasurer on the thing, he's a realtor. When we got issues come up, I call the guy that's on the thing that happens to be the treasurer and say, give him a call and ask him about this and get him to commit to you. And then when you tell me what he said, then the next day when I go see him, I'm not in there because I'm Paul Williams. I'm in here 20 times a day for 20 different people talking about 20 different things. But I'm coming here right now to talk about these realtors, and I don't go in there and say, hey, Paul Williams, John back home told me that you said you were going to support this. You don't know that I done set up John back home. So when you come back in, you want to say this, well, I'm telling you, well, no, you're not supporting me, you're supporting John back home. The guy who happened to be your treasurer that keeps you out of the penitentiary. So that's what I'm saying. Know what you're dealing with. Know who you're dealing with, and that's not just on any given thing. Know all that stuff, and then next thing you know, sometimes when you're dealing with, because sometimes, particularly in lobbying, it's a give and take. It ain't all. It's for every, as I said, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. That's what we call some things. We call them lobbyists full employment bills. When one group hire a bunch of lobbyists, the other side gonna hire a bunch of other ones too. So you got to know your opponent. Know for whom you're competing with. Know for whom their strengths are, what they might do, and then you got to. The last thing is know yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What can you use, and who do you have in your sphere of influence that can help you influence or change or work and motivate the thing that you want to get done? And don't do it for lobbyists. This is not a game. This is not something that I just happen to do. I look through and make an examination of exactly who I know and what I know, and who can we influence, and who do the people that I represent know? Who do they influence? And we handle the whole thing from the beginning to the end. I want to know what the press gonna say. When I was in lobbies, even though I'm down there as a team, I'm also telling the big guy at home, we got to get this press out. Like they said, y'all seen the Godfather, they got their press guys, we got ours. How do we place this story? How does it run? Who do we get to make this story? And when we're looking at things, and so you're looking at all of these things when you're trying to influence anything or anybody or people. Different groups have different weapons. A lot of times when you're dealing with us, big time in money and corporations, they got money. So they doing campaign donations. They doing, any type of things. They got they 501c3 arms. And believe me, it ain't hard for a politician to say, hey, I got a 501c3 I'd like you to work on. No problem. We got a 501c3 arm. So they're doing, so you're looking at all the different things that's going to change the dynamics of the world in which you're in. But a lot of people have other things. Jesse Jackson got people. Some people just got the press. Some people got the parents. Some people got the this. What are your strengths and who does it impact upon? And how do you maximize that particular interest that you have influence with? So this is all a matter, but again, sitting down and analyzing yourself and actually setting the game plan based upon, believe me, when we get together, once I went into a room years ago, I remember this is something that's dealing with something that all you non-profits is dealing with, concept dealing with liquor distributorships. What's his name? Wirtz, who owns the Black Hawks, was trying to do something with big liquor distributors and they're trying to stop. I went in the room with so many lobbyists. First thing I asked the question, is this legal? All these people here, but then he compared, and we sat in that room, and with all those people that we analyzed every single possible aspect of this particular issue and talked about every sphere of influence. We talked about every sphere of influence the opponents had. We talked about everybody that we had to do it, and when we had to do it, and who had to do it. And then after we said, who gonna do what, and when they gonna do it, and when we gonna get back and hear about what you did. Like I tell people, ours is not a joke, and the pressure's on us. I had things where I set up one night, I'm dealing with one particular issue, one particular company. $12 billion was on the line. $12 billion was on the line. And we were sitting there doing what we was doing. I got the president of my company calling me at midnight talking about, well, we got to find out what the president of the Senate is. It was midnight. He said, I don't care, find out now. So I had to go. I happened to know the bar that the president of the Senate drank at. And happened to know he was out drinking. I was able to find him at midnight. Find out what had to be found out. Because that's the way that these guys play it. So, as non-for-profits, to get back to what you want to do, what is it and who is it you want to influence? The non-for-profit, who is it or what is it that you want to do? I mean, like with these young ladies, she start with a group of 10. See, man is a man, okay, I look at the group of 10. Like this gentleman who left, who was I heard a lot of good suggestions and things. But you're looking at the group of 10, like you said, who do they influence, who do they impact, who do they happen to have, if I make these group of 10 people, who is that gonna make happy? You know what I mean? How does the 10 reverberate to somebody else? Does it mean that the block is not quieter, so I can now appeal to everybody on the block? You know what I mean? Where do I appeal with this? Where do I go? Who else will be concerned about it? What is the problem that by bringing these 10 people together, are we addressing? And then who cares about that problem that we address? So everything you do, take a moment to examine it all and recognize that you can change about anything, sometimes just by trying to, understand and evaluate what is and what will not influence the people that you're trying to influence, and what do you have in your arsenal of things that can push you to that direction where you want it to go. Who can you call? Just like when Phil. When Phil comes to Springfield, he called me up. Paul, I come to Springfield. I need to go see so-and-so and such and such. Okay, Phil, I do that. I try my best, because, last time I didn't, he gave away my money. So I decided I better stop. I better talk to him before I get my money and get away again. So all of those things make an impact. I don't want to just ramble on, because I can ramble. I got 3 million lobbying stories. Lobbying stories about Harold Washington. Lobbying stories about Barack Obama. About Mayor Daley. I remember once I did a bill, because I was always against Mayor Daley when I was in the House. And he was a state's attorney, and I'm an attorney. As an attorney, I always was pro-defense. The state's attorney, he trying to lock everybody up. So out of nowhere, one day he got me to sponsor one of his bills, and he was about to run for mayor. I know he was about to run for mayor, and I actually sponsored. It was such a big thing when we were in the House floor. I remember Senator Cullerton, who's now the president, he stopped and said, hey, y'all, look here. This is Paul Williams sponsoring a Rich Daley, a state's attorney bill. I can't believe it. Passed the bill, and later on, I'm sitting in his arm, taking pictures. We taking the picture. He puts his arm around me. This is going to make a great shot for my mayoral run. And I jump out, because I'm Harold, and all of these people. I'm with Dorothy Tillman. I'm Dorothy Tillman's lawyer. The last thing I need to be is in the paper taking a shot with Mayor Daley, talking about him then. But I'm just trying to say, throughout time, I got thousands and thousands of influence, and I've just been blessed that way. So I've known a lot of people and known a lot of things and been involved with a lot of campaigns. Some of them good. My biggest claim to fame in history around here is I'm the creator of what we call, all these people probably get on all of y'all nerves now that y'all deal with all these going voting, and you vote for all these sub-circuit judges. I'm the person who actually sponsored and created the sub-circuit system here in Cook County. Now understand why they do that. At the time when we did it, there were a total of 22 black judges in Cook County with a system well over close to 3,000 judges. And with 22 black judges, and I kept telling people, look, man, there's no way we can get in there without the blessings of the party. So I sued the Illinois Supreme Court Williams versus Illinois Supreme Court. And at the same time, we put in a bill to split Cook County into 15 separate districts. With the understanding we had separate districts, we had a greater chance to be able to do it because under the Voting Rights Act, Article 2, the delusion of our votes is illegal. And it means that the only way we could get anything was to beg somebody for it. So I said, let's split this system up. I remember I went in and asked Madigan. He said, Mr. Madigan, I want to do it. Well, you have at it, son. Now I know I ain't getting it. And when we later on, when he found out when he did it, I went back and I asked him, I said, well, Mr. Madigan, can I use some of that magic you got? I just beat him, and he said, well, you use some of that. You're not too bad to just press the digitation stuff yourself, son. You keep at it. But that's the whole point is that in doing that, I looked at it, because people said, well, how'd you do that? I got all the blacks to stand with the Republicans. Oh, well, I said, well, how would they do it? Well, because Republicans couldn't elect no judges, we couldn't elect no judges. My thing is, I'm a black person. I happen to be a Democrat. I've been a Democrat all my life, but when I know what's good for my people, and I do not, it does not come necessarily in Democrat and Republican. It come in right and wrong, what makes sense right now. So I got my own issues and things that I get off on, and that's why I always get in trouble. Because I keep forgetting, if I keep telling me, Paul, my wife, tell me, if they ain't paying you, why don't you shut up? You're always involved with something. You're always there. I've been fighting with, having some issues with some unions and things, saying we can't get enough black boys into the construction trade unions. And I don't care what you say. I'm on a real kick on that stuff. Talking about it, do not try to fool me. I know why I was just up this thing this morning. Talking about the fact that there's a lack of opportunities for young black people. And I said, you know why? We got hoodwinked about 1,000 years ago. Someone, now about 20, 30, 40 years ago, they told us some sort of way that we ought to get liberal arts educations, and they closed all of the stuff. We don't have vocational educations in the schools anymore. We don't have Washburn Trade School. They closed Washburn Trade School in 1984, thereabouts, because of the fact the system is turned predominantly black. They opened it up in 1909 for the trained immigrants, not us. And to a point where we got to a point where they couldn't continue to keep us out without answering to the U.S. Department of Labor, and the U.S. Department, they decided to close the school rather than open up the books. And to this day, we still can't get in it, but at the same time, they're constantly seeking for a minority on all government, monopoly on all government work. And none of our politicians sat up and said a thing about it and continue to pass the mandate of making more and more possible for them to do more and more work, which we are not a part of. So this is my kick. This is what gets me in trouble. I shut up, Paul. Last time you did that, they came at you, and they did, and they will. But again, for me as a lobbyist, I got to figure, where's my influence? What do I do when I get in that situation? I call Phil Jackson. Phil, cover my back. I'm out here acting like a fool. I need somebody to say something. But I'm going to shut up now. Let y'all talk about things, because again, this is just, I don't know exactly where I fit in all of these things. I'm just saying that, lobbying is a unique situation where you try your best to understand anything and anybody you're trying to influence. Take enough time to understand the group that you're trying to influence, understand yourself, understand what you got to be able to do it, and then sit down and develop a very strategic campaign on how you're going to make everything you want to do come to pass. And if you do that right, and if you follow your own instructions, if you follow your own goals and you follow through, I can't guarantee you success, but I'm going to tell you you're going to make an impact on what it is you're trying to do. So I'm open for questions if anybody got any, and I'm just glad to hang out for a little while if you don't.
I want to know, how can a small group of us sit down with you, just to throw some ideas on you and learn from one another and learn from your wisdom?
Just call me.
Okay.
That's on the average, I'll give you a card, and for the most part, I'm not difficult to get with or anything of that nature. I'm nobody special in this world. I'm just a guy trying to pay bills. I paid last month, God willing, I'll pay next. So that's all I am. So I just appreciate that.
So what you're saying is what you do is it's like you bring all the networkers together. Like if somebody wants to do something over here, you say, okay, you need to talk to him. Whatever they want to do, you kind of point the finger to the people who they need to talk to in order to make whatever they're trying to make work.
Well, to some extent, I try to help them identify the issue and the things. I'll give you one. I'll give you one because half of you will disagree with me on. I'll give you the real issue, show you how it works. And I'm certain half of you will disagree with me on the issue. I represent Chicago State University just recently. Picked them up last 4 or 5 minutes. Right now, there's a bill in the legislature to allow junior colleges to offer baccalaureate degrees in nursing. Well, we oppose that Oh, well, why? Because we're always a struggling school. Right now, if you're going to increase, and there's junior colleges have their particular realm, major colleges have their particular thing. If you take that thing, now you got Chicago State with a major nursing program, we're trying to struggle to get ourselves back on their feet. They just brought me on 4 or 5 months ago. But if we allow this bill to pass, and all of a sudden, we now, instead of competing with the 7 universities plus all the private universities, public universities, we're now competing with another 50 junior colleges for the same students using, and also for the same faculty. So you dilute our ability to deal with our problem, and at the same time, we only get state dollars. They get state, local, and other dollars, and the thing is, you dilute their mood, you change their mission, and you change ours. So the first thing I do is I go and talk to all the other universities. Every university in the state is going to be opposed to this. Because every university is going to be opposed to the idea that once we get on that slippery slope, we allow them to do a bachelorette in this area, then we're going to want to do a bachelorette in that area. And they say, based upon the nursing shortage, but the reality of it all is, where's this nursing shortage at? Where can't you get every university out here that has spots in their nursing thing? Well, we had one downstate senator who had a chip on his block over something, and he wanted to put one down in Lewis and Clark. We said, well, you want to do one in Lewis and Clark? Edwardsville's 19 miles away. Where's the inability to find access to this? Why can't we do 3 in 1? Why can't we do it? I'm just saying, but we put together a coalition. Who else did we get? We got the nurses. Most of the nurses didn't want you to do that. So we get the nurses, we get them, we get the colleges and universities, then we'll try to figure out, well, now for on the other side, they got another group of nurses. They ain't gonna say for it. They don't go out, and so when they couldn't get it with Lewis and Clark, what they gonna do? They gonna throw Malcolm X into the mix. So now we're gonna get Chicago legislators by throwing Malcolm X in the mix. But I actually used that against him since, see, it was cool when it was Lewis and Clark, one school downstate. Now Malcolm X, I got Chicago State. Malcolm X got 15 nursing schools all around it. UIS, UIC, they're all right there. You got Rush, all these nursing programs. Why is Malcolm X going to not turn this in line and go into a baccalaureate? But that's just an example. What we do is we begin to then, so what we do is not only we reach out there, we reach out to Rush, we reach out to U of I, the nursing schools. All those people have other interests. Now, so I'm just trying to say, as a lobbying interest, my job is to then sit down and figure out who are all my allies, who are all my enemies, and he put his hands up. That means shut up. So, huh? I thought that meant people tell me to shut up so much I get used to it. You know, that sort of thing. That's that thing. So that's kind of, I was just using that as an example. Now, I got all types of different things that I represent solar companies. And we just got finished going through a big thing trying to figure out, because solar energy is a new industry in this particular state based upon this new Future Job Act that they passed that creates energy. I remember we had a big powwow this month with the local assessors and school boards and stuff. Because now all of a sudden, in many instances, the way the bill is set up, it encourages these solar farms in areas. And so the assessors are trying to figure out, how do you determine the valuation of an assessment for a piece of property, which used to be farmland and was valued this way. Now we got all these things on top. How do you assess it now? And we're trying to say, you better assess it low enough to still want me to come in here. And that's we want it high enough so we can go do all these other things. So we bid all things. We got to figure out who we got on our side. We got on our side. At the end of the day, we passed the bill that nobody likes. It was the perfect bill. Perfect bill. Yes, sir.
So there was a comment made earlier that you may not quite understand how you fit into all of this. And if I can just offer, you said you didn't quite know how you fit into all of this non-for-profit piece. And so for me, what I think is that there's a thought out there that says that non-for-profits represent a special interest group. And there are those who believe that special interest groups are the fourth part of government. And with that, you've been a government, and the government also has grants at times. So you being a government liaison or legislative lobbyist is how I feel how I see that you fit in. Any response to that?
Oh, no, I mean, I understand it. You know, sometimes I think about government, because you go back to the grants. And how do you go through the appropriation process? How can you maximize that? And a lot of times, for groups and things, and I'm just looking both, and I can tell a lot of you guys have a lot of expertise in a lot of areas dealing with things that you do, particularly in the non-for-profit realm. When it comes down to government, and like I said, get into the big grants and things of that nature, which is one part of lobbying. As I said, the larger groups actually have guys down there with their feet on the ground. I'm talking about Chicago area project back in the day, HRDI, some of those other organizations. It was they were basically, I used to be on the board over at Carl Bell's mental health thing. We were always down there trying to get grants, trying to get money, because we actually lived off of the thing. Even when I was there though on the board, I was the only one always screaming, y'all, we need to diversify. Because I'm telling you, you hang a whole hat on this government stuff when they, as I always tell them, the one thing that I've learned from living around government is not to believe in government. Okay, I mean, I'm just trying to tell you. I even tell the young reps, do not put your faith up there. I'm a true religious guy. Put your faith in God and just talk to these guys. Okay, try your best. You know, but count on him for the rest, because the reality of it all is they only gonna do what basically comes down to their best interest and stuff. But you know, it's all types of things though. So those guys, and there is a spot for that. And my thing was whether or not this group and what you kinds of guys are doing is really geared towards trying to go after government grants, how you do that. But what I would say, anybody that's involved with government people, all I would give you some basic stuff is, one, respect that system and respect everybody in it, even your opponents. You know, one of the times that I would say about a lot of non-for-profits and other groups of that nature sometimes is, I always tell people, don't get me wrong, don't let me offend you, because I have a way, I offend people all the time, but please, I try not to do it. I said, a lot of non-for-profits, a lot of folks come in there, they're such goody two-shoes groups. See, I represent the good, the bad, and the ugly. And they come down there and goody two-shoes because they're doing a good thing, and they have the ability to talk to God. They can tell everybody else, they don't got to respect nobody else. So I'm saying, be careful with that. No matter how good you be, no matter how straight you're doing, also recognize that, you know, you got to learn how to respect whoever you're dealing with, even your opponent. And when you're down there dealing with Springfield and stuff, don't get holier than thou. Don't go pointing your finger at nobody. Don't go telling them what we're going to do to you if you don't. Politicians know what you can and can't do. When I was a politician, when people come in my office, I knew who could hurt me and I knew who couldn't. No matter what came out their mouth. As JC said, you can say what you say, but you are what you do. And I knew good and well who could do something to me and who couldn't. So don't throw out idle threats. Don't be disrespectful. Don't be holier than thou. Don't assume that because you own it that you know, that, like I say, you didn't talk to God and therefore you right. You know, so just, my thing is that would be the one thing I give a lot of people back. Respect you and respect the fight that you're in, and then be in it for the long haul. I just got finished working with one group. They came down, actually, one of the manufacturing renaissance. They have this thing over there. Again, it's all this pro bono work I do. I got to watch this stuff. It's something I believe in, trying to help young black kids have an avenue back into trying to put some form of route to work from educational thing within the public system back into work. You know, we're trying to do that, and we're doing it through manufacturing renaissance. When we're down there, and I'm trying to tell them, guys, we're going to go down there, and we got pharmacists in Alabama, and everybody doing all that. And I told them, guys, this is a 4-5 year thing. When they came down there, we hit go. They came out the house flying. I said, just hold your horse, slow down, don't get too excited. Sure enough, they got held up where I thought it was going to happen. But the point is, not so much doing that, but the point is, I'm saying, but don't give up. As I told them, don't be disappointed. Look at it realistically, understand what your real goal is to get to the end, but don't be discouraged because you don't get there in one inning. Keep at it, but just keep adjusting the program, the thing. Even for them, I'm telling them, good example. They're a good example. I said, well, yeah, why? Because they're non-for-profit trying to set up schools like they do. They want 12 of them around the state, but they need $36 million. I told them, man, the first time you open your mouth down in Springfield, just broke people tell them you need $36 million. I'm telling you, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. But we got to talk about who you are, what you do, what kind of allies we can get. Can we get the manufacturers involved? Because now we got people that the white folks want to get, that that the Ronald's going to respect if he happens to get the bill on his desk, and so on. And sure enough, they're game for this. You know, and other people like that, they're game for this. We got some issues with this group over here because they may be concerned about this. But, you know, but for me, so I told them, so what you next thing y'all need to be doing is going back home and beginning to figure out how do you coalesce a group of other things around this thing, and then how do you coalesce people in Peoria, people in Danville, people down there, because you got connections to do all of these things in all these places, but how do you organize this? Next time when I go down there, the legislator from Peoria is going to be on board because everybody back home and talk to him about it. The guy from Danville will understand it because his manufacturer would have told him we need a program like this. So we began to do it, but we first just throw the idea on the table and begin to float it and get people to get some understanding of what it is we're trying to do. Then we begin to figure out where do all the pieces fit and how can we move the ball game. Now, I know I'm out of time, so I'm going to get on here.